that I will leave to us as we finish this conference. When I was in the very beginning, when I was talking, commenting about Hillary, I am the kind of person who likes to look at things from a broader approach. When you look at climate change, and when you read the encyclical by Pope Francis, he brings about some dilemmas that we have to talk about. The first one is survival and environmental conservation. Look at Lubiji. In the villages, there's a lot of climate change effect. Guys can no longer do agriculture, and agriculture is the livelihood of probably 70% of rural folk in Uganda. So that means there's a lot of urbanization. Now, when you come to Kampala, you will find the nearest place where you can put what? You can put a small house, isn't it? So that person who is in that situation, they're faced with a dilemma. Do I conserve the swamp, or do I put up a small house for survival? I have to feed my family, so you're telling me not to cut this tree for firewood? Now, those are the dilemmas we have. Somebody told us about charcoal. The charcoal, it's a very interesting conversation. Yes? Reduce the charcoal. Solid, valid. What's the alternative? In Kenya, I think it was about 2015, they had a serious affirmative action. They brought the price of gas down by half. So that I think by the time I left, the price by 2021, the price that we use to buy the 13 kg gas here, yes, was the price, the price of 6 kg, the other side, was the price of 2 kg here. Because there would buy the 13 kgs at about 2,000 shillings, which is equivalent to 6,000, to 60,000. Yet here, the 60,000 was one that buying the one of 6. Look at that disparity. That means the amount of gas you need here for 13 kg is half of it is what you need. So you can see the disparity. But I understand there's a conversation the government is trying to do to see how they can produce cheaper. The challenge, again, it has been politicized. So that's the conversation. Another one is development vis-a-vis conservation. We have the air COP, we have the conservation. Someone from the other part of the world is telling us, don't develop the pipeline. It is bad for your climate. But they have enough energy. Is it true that when you have the energy, we should develop? So I think those are the kind of dilemmas and the questions that we need to engage in. And as church-based organizations, as church-based people, we cannot shun away from those conversations. Why? Because when we shun away from them, we give them the leeway to make the kind of decisions that they can make, which in most cases are not in favor of the people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Laudato Si Youth Initiative. At this moment, we are going to the concluding part, and we want to wind up surely, since we are kind of time bad, and I would not want everybody to go back late, those of us coming from a distance and so on. I want to take 2 to 3 comments, because we want by 4 we should be out of here. When you look at your watch, I think you can see how many minutes we have. Yes, anybody? Somebody with an issue? I'm giving only 30 seconds.
Okay, mine is not a question. Okay, it may be a question. As I said, I'm Brother Simon. I Laudato Si animator. I'm happy to meet the initiative for youths in Laudato Si. I would like to ask them. Since I'm an Laudato Si animator, can we work together in our programs which we are having? And where are your offices?
Well, all right, thank you so much. It so happens that I am also a Laudato Si animator. I completed my Laudato Si animators course, I think I was in Senior 5, 2022. Yeah. So working together is very okay. And we're located at John Paul II Justice and Peace Center in Zambia, Konge, in Zambia, not Konge, in Sereko Road, close to Gogonya Police Station. Yeah.
Well, I guess I could say something about that. I'm actually the Laudato Si movement chapter leader in the country. So for the animators, there's a lot of stuff you can do individually, and you can also work with other animators. And maybe there's also a forum that we also just get to share things. I guess I could just add you to that platform. But wait, maybe I could just say something else. Sorry. You said questions. Here's something that I've just noticed in this whole encounter. How dumb is that? Here's the thing, really. Okay, I know people who are spiritual get really angry when I have this conversation, but I'm just asking. If we can get a president, get a whole country to come for prayers, do you think as religious communities, we try and avoid the tough conversations? Because, I mean, a country of 50 million people, I use Kenya as an example because Ruto cannot come for me. A country of 50 million people, they could not think about something as a church, could not think about something to actually combat that other than just prayers, just thinking.
Any other? Yes, quickly.
Me, I'm just disappointed that people of my age have left. There's something I wanted to share with them. Okay. I don't think so. My brother talked about the Kavera thing. Growing up, we never used Buvera, by the way, and we used to survive. We had the paper bags. I remember my mother used to come with meat in a paper bag. So you pick one that you remove all those, whatever, the papers, used to survive, and the baskets. I'm not a politician, but during this regime, that's when the Kaveras came. It's very bad that politicians are not here. It's very good that they are listening. Me, I was born in 81. The Kaveras were not there. I started seeing Buvera maybe when I was like the age of 7 or 8. You see those weighing scales, That thing, I don't know how they call it. That mizani. You could, let me use Uganda by the way. Mizani eyo mugiraba ekyo kibate kiriko. You'd carry your dish, ne bakuteramu your rice, then they pour it mu kyolese. I remember one day, bantuma omuceere. So I started like praying with it, Nenguzanyiza, omuceere ne guyiika, ne njoola byonna bye nayoola, ne nteekamu ne ntwala ewaki? Ewaka. Was just an accident. Buli mwana ekyo asobola okukola ki? Okukiyitamu. Naye nature. Kintekako essira. The politicians batuyambe baggyewo obuki? Obuveera.
We have something we can do for the Kavera. You see, I think one thing I'm getting to appreciate is there are things we can throw to the politicians. Politicians are in a very tricky situation. There's a lot of interest for them. Let's put them aside. I'm not saying we ignore them, put them aside. The question I think I'm getting to grow into is, as individuals, what can we do? For instance, Can we reduce them? We've talked about some of NEMA is doing a lot of sensitization on their social media sites. There is one they're talking about of pushing for bulk buying. Kubanga bw'oba ogenze nakasa n'ogula ebintu ebingi ojja kwesanga ojja kwesa akaveera kamu batekemu ennyaanya obutungulu na buli kimu na buli kimu na buli kimu. And then also there's something I do intentionally. Olumu ngenda okugula ekintu. For me, I work with my, I don't know how they call them. I got this situation from Kenya. It's not a paper bag. Bulinga bu bag. Nenga they are biodegradable. Si kaveera. It's a cloth bag. I work with mine in the bag. So when I just need one kaveera in the market. But it's something I do intentionally. Omukyala waba agenda omanyi bw'ogenda mu katale buli ky'ogula kaveera. Buli ky'ogula kaveera. Olumu omukyala mugamba tompa kaveera. Twagala kendeeza obuveera bwe tukozesa. I said kimuyingiremu. Ate abamu ogenda okukola nga kibwakola ki. So I think there are things eri ebintu bitusobola okukola empola mpola. Okulaba nga tusomesa abaana, tusomesa abantu. Otherwise, it's a very tricky one. But I feel a lot of pain for me who goes to downtown. Waliwo otambuddeko ekiro n'olaba ebiveera byonna ebijjudde streets. Because who is responsible for these things? And then we are going to talk about KCCA. But what has KCCA done in this case? Each of those arcades should be held accountable to every kaveera that comes. When you do that, nyini kizimbe agenda kukwata ekizibu ekyo akiddize abapangisa be. Omupangisa ajja kulaba mbu kasitoma waba aguza essaati n'ajjujamu ekisaati ekiveera tomala gakikanyuga. So that responsibility has to go on being down and down and down. I think that's what we need to do.
Excuse me, just even another thing. Oyogedde about kuobo tote bags oba cloth bags. Omukyala waba akakutte obeera smart by the way. Instead of carrying buveera. Ndowooza ba Esther bamanyi okunsekerera bampita maama. I always carry one. Bwe bampita mu owino. Kubanza ebindabikira binkwata ekiveera kya green, I'm smart. You get? Tuyigirize abaana zessira kwenditeeka. Omukyala tokwata kaveera, kwata kasawo. You reuse it.
This is a very interesting conversation, especially the dilemma that we are in. Survival versus environmental conservation, development vis-a-vis conservation. These are the conversations that we have. Some of our community programs that we have in the Baha'i faith and also in the Baha'i-inspired organization that I work with. We focus more on the area of education in our communities, where youth and community members generally come together and think about many of these environmental challenges. We always focus on three main questions when we are talking about environmental issues. And the first question is, how can we improve our activities, our human activities, so that we produce the least amount of wastes possible? So if it is a home, a household, you're thinking, okay, how many people are we here? And how much food am I supposed to cook? Are we going to eat all this food? That is the first question. How do we reduce, how do we modify our production processes? Because everyone, everywhere you are a producer in one way or another. Every day, you're using certain raw materials and you're producing waste materials. So how do we reduce? The next one is, how can we find the beneficial use of our waste products? Ngenze mu lusuku ntemye ettooke ndireesa awaka nfumbye omuwumbo gwange omulungi. Tuli abantu babiri. Kati awo manya nti sijja fumba ttooke ddamba, nja kufumbako kiwagu kitya? Kimu. Okay. Bwe nfumba ekiwagu manyi nina endagala zifiseewo. Nina ebikuta by'amatooke. Do I have a beneficial use for those? Ffe mu kyalo manya nti nja bitwala mu lusuku bifuuke n'akavundira. Or I'll feed them to the animals. How about the one who is in the city? What are you going to do about that? Then, The last question is, the second one was finding the beneficial use of the waste products that we produce in all our production processes. And the third is, we know every waste product that is not used in any way must end up somewhere in the environment. So then the third question is, how can we find the least harmful way of discarding this waste material? Nkasuula busuuzi mu street ng'akaveera oba mbukuŋŋaanya wamu ne mbuguza abagenda okukolamu obulala ba recycling. So if it's not going to be recycled or not, nga nina kookya oba okaziika mu ttaka oba okasuula mu nnyanja, which of those is the least harmful way that I'm going to actually choose? And we see that these three main questions that we use in our conversations in the communities, in the schools where we work, and all in other places, we see them actually becoming very, very important. And whoever thinks in those terms somehow finds a solution to the challenges. Thank you.